Hey, what's up, guys? Rampedi here. SAFA presidential elections. Danny Jordan wins. Orlando Pirates have a new coach. His name is Jose. But which Jose is it? It's off season. A lot of football to talk about. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
Let's start things off with the SAFA presidential election. So they took over this weekend, and then Jordan going up against Ria, going up against Soli. Who was going to win? Well, this is how the results came out. And as you can see on screen, then Jordan getting 186 votes. Ria only getting 27 votes and Soli only getting 8. So then Jordan winning it by a landslide victory. Wow, it seemed like he didn't have any competition. He was voted in. So they've chosen him to be the next man to take over the next term. So he will be in charge of South African football for the next 4 years. And he did mention that this is going to be his last year. And I would like to think that he would want to go out with a bang, you know. And he spoke about a lot of things right after the elections that happened. And one of the things I would say for me that was a positive was the fact that Banyana would be getting a prize money for featuring at the AFCON as well. So hopefully they go all the way and go win it in terms of getting that prize money that they richly deserve. He also spoke about the fact that schools national league, I think that's crucial. I think when you speak amongst the corridors, schools football is something that needs to come back. And him having to speak about a national league where there will be schools competing with one another, I think we need that necessary competition. Having to have our youth teams playing again, that's important, you know, because obviously Hugo Bruce highlighted it, and it reminded us, was the forefront in terms of our under-23s were not playing, our under-17s were not playing as much, and you would say even our under-20s were not playing as much. So he needs to get those youth teams to be playing again, and he'd be wanting to go out on high. So let's see how he goes. He's spoken about his manifesto, he's spoken about where he wants to take football, and this will be his last term, and let's see what he does. Orlando Pirates have a new coach, guys. It's not Benny McCarthy, no. It's not Steve Compella, no. It's not Owen Dagama, no. It's not even Gavin Hunt. And I got to tell you, Orlando Pirates caught everybody off guard with this decision. They've brought a coach. His name is Jose, not Jose Mourinho. Jose Riveiro is the man. He is Spanish, 46 years old. And it was so left field because nobody saw this coming, especially when you looked at the reports of which potential coaches could come in. Who's this coach? You know, he spent most of his career as a youth coach and as well as an assistant. But his big job was Inter Turku, where he was the head coach there, and he managed to qualify them through Europe as well. Managed over 100 games at the club, and I didn't see this coming. You know, I don't think a lot of us saw this coming, considering the options that were available within South Africa as well that could have taken on the job at Orlando Pirates, and even some of the options that were in Africa, but they decided to go to Europe, bring in a coach. And I would have to hope that Orlando Pirates did the research, did the due protocols in order to bring in a coach who's going to bring success back to them. And I think even in Orlando Pirates' defense, what they could argue back is to say, hey, the last time we tasted silverware was under a foreign coach, you know, and now they bring in someone else and perhaps hoping to taste that silverware. And it's been a long time. I mean, the last time Orlando Pirates won a league was in 2012. You know, the 2011-2012 season. And also, because I spoke about it from Maruma Gallants having to bring in their coach being a risk, this is also a risk as well, because he does not have any sort of experience having to coach here. But I can only hope Orlando Pirates did their homework as well. And they've always had to, like I said, do really well in terms of having to in competitions, cup competitions as well. And let's see what he does. I want to give him a chance. I want to see what he's sort of able to bring. You know, Spanish coaches love to sort of play with that possession style football, having to be progressive with the ball, being attacking as well. So it'll be interesting to see. And I think also Pirates have given him the guns to sort of be able to attack the league, at least close the gap on Mamelodi Sundowns. Still a risk because he's got no experience regarding to being here, but let's give him a chance. With Jose Riveiro coming in as the head coach, that would mean that Mandla Ncikazi is possibly going to be an assistant coach. I don't necessarily see them doing that whole co-coaching role that he did with Fadlu Davidson, as well as Fadlu Davidson parted ways with the club as well. But he stayed in, and I think he's going to be part of the technical team, but he's gone down to assistant. I would only see him going there. And I have to say, for someone who was at Golden Arrows, head coach there, did such a fabulous job. When he came into Orlando Pirates, he came in as an assistant to Joseph Zimbabwe. And when Zimbabwe left, I thought that was the moment to sort of take this opportunity, because it's not that many times you get an opportunity to manage a club as big as Orlando Pirates. And when you're there, you have to be able to take the opportunity. And when you see what happened within the league, how they performed, the number of games that they didn't win as well, and then the last chance they had, him and Fadlu Davids win the Confederations Cup, they were not able to do that. And I think also what this shows, and it's no disrespect, I think it's Orlando Pirates also saying that Mandla Ncikazi, you're not ready yet. You're not ready to take over this ship, this big one. And he's going to be an assistant, and I think maybe he can learn his trades. Very interesting that he has chosen to stay, because I could have seen him at another club and perhaps also trying to do really well at another club. But let's see, he can bide his time. He can also learn as well from Jose as well. And it'll be interesting to see what he learns, and maybe he can also pass on information as well. But I just feel the way that the club performed within the league, and the fact that they were not able to get over the line in the CAF Confederations Cup, has led him to being an assistant. In other news in the black and white camp, they announced signings. Yes, Bucks announced signings and departures as well. Let's start off with the signings. I've already spoken about Miguel Tim. I think he is well deserved within that move, and I think they really got a player there. Evidence Mahopa, I also spoke about him a couple of weeks ago in terms of if he was to be able to come in. I just think at Baroka, he didn't get so many chances. And it's so hard because they were not able to score goals. But now he comes into an Orlando Pirates side that's just going to just create chances for fun. And they do that. And you've always been able to see that they do not have that focal point. And he can just be someone who can sit in the box and be able to score in the goals. I really do believe in Evidence Mahopa. I still think there is a player there, regardless of the fact that last season was not really great. Then Evanga, he's come in, he scored goals at Chipa, and he is more of he's so robust, he's so strong, he's able to hold the ball up, he's able to bully defenders as well. He gives also Orlando Pirates something different. There's something different, and when you're able to score goals at a team like Chipa United, score double figures as well at the same point, those are teams that do not create a lot. So when you're able to just take those little chances that you get, I think it's something that if Orlando Pirates want to go something different, then they can go that one route with him. But with that being said, there is a dilemma that's happening. There's a dilemma that's happening at Orlando Pirates, guys. And look, let's discuss it. Firstly, we assessed in terms of the positions that Miguel Tim would occupy in the midfield and which players are going to stay, which players are going to go. We're not necessarily sure. But now they've brought in two quality strikers, I feel. The dilemma is who's going to play. Because I look at all of these strikers that they have at this current moment. Someone here is not going to see minutes on the pitch. Let's look at them. Mahopa being up there. Evanga, of course. Radiopane, I think the season that he's had within the Diski Challenge, he can't play there. He can't play there next season. I think he needs to be roped into first team as well. And I think he would add more to first team football as well. Kwame Pepra got a lot of minutes. Seems to be, there's a belief that they had in him in terms of Mandla Ncikazi and as well as Fadlu Davids. But what is Jose going to pick? And also apparently there could be potential international interest for the striker. Now we're moving on to the guys that I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen to them. Let's start off with Zakele Lepasa. He needs to play, guys. He needs to play. He needs to play. I remember the one time there was a tweet that went out and they asked if he was injured, and he said he wasn't injured. So you could tell that he was not picked to start the game. And he's at a stage in his life where he needs to be able to be playing games. He needs to be able to have that hunger to want to represent the national team. So far within his career, I don't want that the only thing, if it comes to an end by maybe in the next 10 years of his career, I don't want the only career highlight to be the fact that he scored the winning penalty against Kaizer Chiefs. I don't want it to be that. I think there's a lot more to him. And I think he also needs to make a decision. And when you look at the strikers that have come in, I don't know if he's going to be able to beat those strikers to be number one. And if he's not going to be given the time, I just think he needs to make a decision. And then Terence Jukumanja, I just think it just didn't work out. You know, I just think every time he got the chance, maybe he would argue that he did not get as enough chances as he would have liked to sort of get the rhythm going, but it just did not work out. I expected a little bit more as well. And then Mabasa, you know, there was a time when he was in form when he was playing for Rolani, scoring a brilliant goal as well, and now he's been linked with Sekhukhune United, and I think it's something that he needs as well. And the same as Zakhele Lepasa, he needs to play. You know, he needs to play. I'm not a fan of strikers or not even strikers, but players that just are at clubs and they're not getting game time, and eventually time is going. And that's the thing, is that, like I always say this every single year, you know, football is it goes so quickly, you know, and before you know it, you don't even know where it went to. And they currently in the peak years, 26, 25 years old. And that's the moments that they need to take. So even Mabasa, if he does happen to go to Sekhukhune United, I think he would add something to them, and he would be definitely a good striker for them. Azola Matrose. So he's been signed by Orlando Pirates as well. A gem of a footballer. I think what was nice to see, I'm not necessarily sure if it's really confirmed or not, is the fact that he will be loaned back to Chippa United. And I think that is something that will do well within his progress as well. He's only still within his teens, and I think they really got a good footballer here. I think every time he has the ball, he's always trying to progress. He's always trying to take on defenders. And it's one of those players that remind you of the genuineness of someone trying to be the defender to try to get a goal. And I think Orlando Pirates, they have to be very cautious with this one. I think it's like you take cotton wool, you wrap him around, you look after him, because I think he can be an important player for Orlando Pirates and for Bafana in a very long time. And if he is to stay at Chippa United and get more game time and progress even more, that makes me happy. And I would certainly hope that is the case. We've spoken about the arrivals. Now let's speak about the departures, because Orlando Pirates released a number of players. And as you can see on screen, I'm having it out for you. These are the players that were released. Let's go through them very quickly. Ngomnyama, you know, it's one of those moves you sort of ask yourself, I don't know what was happening there. I think obviously he couldn't turn down the move because Orlando Pirates came knocking at his door. But within a year, he's already gone and he didn't see many minutes. I don't think a lot of people are going to remember his stay. And I think what is interesting about this player is the fact that he was at Mamelodi Sundowns, he was at Orlando Pirates, and it just both times has not worked out. So if he goes back to another club and he's going to play a lot, be it Maritzburg United, be it Baroka, be it Sekhukhune, you never would know. It's just possibly maybe get settled in and stay in, you know, and get those numbers of games. And if another big team comes calling, I think be able to assess if you're going to be getting those minutes. Abel Mabaso, a player who has always shown up for Orlando Pirates. I think he's always been a team player, trying to make sure the team does well. But I mean, even when you look at his age, that's another thing about football, that it goes so fast. And I sort of expected this one, because I just do not think there's another gear that he could give Orlando Pirates. But I do think there's teams that could definitely do with him. Justice Chabalala, a player who's been on loan for a number of times. I mean, he's been to a number of clubs as well. And I think he does deserve this. The fact that he got his clearance and now he can find a team where he can permanently settle in and not being able to think about what if I go on loan again. Elson Sitole, I never got to see him. I'll be honest. I never got to see him. He played a number of games for Orlando Pirates in the Diski Challenge, but I never got to see him in a first team shirt quite a number of times. I think also just the fact that the form of Richard Ofori, having to play so many games that he's played, and on top of that, Mponjane, who is after him, there was just not going to be a step for him to get those games, and perhaps he can go somewhere else. He is still a very young goalkeeper. Wayne St. Lenz, I think this was coming, nearly within his 40s. a great servant to Orlando Pirates, never had any problems, stepped up when he needed to step up. It'll be very interesting to see if he will carry on playing. I would think with what he's doing off the pitch, maybe a goalkeeping coach job is something that would be good for him as well. I just think he's also served South African football really well as well. So we'll see what happens with him. I'd love it if he was a goalkeeper coach. Thabang Monare, this was the surprise. Didn't expect him to leave, especially considering that the experience that he had and also the form that he's had at Orlando Pirates that made him break into the Bafana setup. But he's parted ways with Orlando Pirates. So maybe talks with the Gus for a new deal. That is what something that broke. And I just think, I'm not sure if Thabang Monare can still contribute at the highest level for top teams still, but I do think teams just right underneath the top level, I think he could be able to give more. I think teams like Cape Town today, I think he could do more with them. I think SuperSport, he could do more with them. I think there's clubs there that he could definitely contribute to as well. So it'll be interesting what he does with his career. Linda Mtambo, he's gone to Sekhukhune. Apparently it's a permanent deal. I'm happy for him that he got this move as well. I'm happy because I felt personally for Linda Mtambo, he put himself second. I thought there were times he was too nice. I thought there were times he could have thrown his toys out the pram. And I thought at times he just could have fought for more game time on the pitch. But judging by the videos that are coming out, you could tell that he was the guy that lifted the spirits within the dressing room. And he put the team first and made sure that the players played well. But the fact that he's going to Sekhukhune, I think he would be able to give them that quality, but he'd be able to play more. But it's so sad that you're at a club for so long and maybe you're not getting those necessary minutes that you're supposed to get. So I wish him all the best at Sekhukhune. I think he's been good at Orlando Pirates from a team building point of view. Nyauza, the moment I saw him being released, I just thought Alfred Ndengane, and I thought that he could go to Emirates United, provide that experience as well. Will be interesting where he goes. But those were the departures so far from Orlando Pirates. Maybe more might just come. Over to the other side of Soweto, Kaizer Chiefs. Players that they've recruited and as well as they've released. Let's start off with the one that they released. Rama Mphahlele, I never got the chance to speak about him. He was such a great servant to the club as well. I think one thing that is very unfortunate for him is the fact that he was not able to win anything. But he was just never had the drama that you would see in the newspapers. He got very close, getting to finals as well, captaining a number of times. He brought that sort of experience that Kaizer Chiefs needed from what he was winning at Mamelodi Sundowns. But unfortunately, the recruitment did not, I would not say all the players that Kaizer Chiefs recruited replicated the type of player that Rama was. So if they got 11 Rama Mphahlele, I think Kaizer Chiefs would have won something. And I just think what he's been able to give to Kaizer Chiefs. The one story I will say about him, I bumped into him at Melrose Arch and immediately he knew who I was from the videos that I was doing, and he was very, very complimentary, and he was very nice, and he was very willing to give me a jersey as well. So I just want to give a shout out to him, because even meeting him in person, he's such a nice person. So not only is he good on the pitch, I think even as a person, he's a good man, and I think he'll be able to get a club in future. Yusuf Maart, so a player that has signed for Kaizer Chiefs from Sekhukhune, a player, Bafana player. I saw him and I thought immediately his time is now. I thought this is the time. This is the time to, the age that he's at, it's the right time to go to a club where it demands you to win every single game. I think he's a cute footballer. I think he plays deep. You know, he plays deep. But one thing I love about him is his range of passing. He can intercept the ball, having to make that turn, and he can just hit them long. And when he hits them long, they're accurate. They're accurate a lot of the times. And I just think Kaizer Chiefs getting a player like this, absolutely great. I think they paid top dollar for him as well. And I wish him all the best at Kaizer Chiefs. I think he's going to add to Kaizer Chiefs within that midfield as well. And I just like how he can, it's deep, he can progress, as well, he can go box to box as well. He's got quite the engine on him. So I'm looking forward to see what he does give to Amakosi. Let's speak about a Golden Arrows player, Pule Mmodi, linked to Kaizer Chiefs, linked to Orlando Pirates as well. Apparently both clubs are fighting for him. Player who can play on the wings, very tricky, quick. And just like Yusuf Maart, I think this is the time for him to sort of go to a club that would demand him to always perform, give those 8 out of 10 performances every single game. What will be very interesting for me with regards to this player is I would like to think Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates will offer a similar amount in terms of finances. But what's important for him, especially to also develop, and also the fact that he's tasted Bafana as well. He's tasted what it's like to be in a national team because of the performances that he gave to Golden Arrows. He's a very good player. I think he needs to sit there, look at both Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs and ask, where am I going to play the most? That's the most important thing. It's where is he going to play the most? Where is he going to continue to develop? I want to keep instilling that within South African players, for them to also think about, yes, you want to be paid well. We all want to be paid well. But you have to also think about having to progress. And it's the performances on the pitch that potentially get you moves to international teams. So the most important question Pule Mmodi needs to ask is, who will play me the most? Let's leave Joburg and let's go to Pretoria now. Mamelodi Sundowns, a player that they've signed, Nassir from Ethiopia, a player that means a lot to the Ethiopian nation as well. He was playing for Ethiopian Coffee. There was a video that came out on social media where he was saying goodbye to his teammates because he's going to be joining Mamelodi Sundowns, only 22 years old. I saw him immediately when the news came out. It was around the time when I was watching Egypt going up against Ethiopia, and Ethiopia won that game, and he was very instrumental within that game. So what I decided to do over this past weekend, with all the time that I have, because club football is not on at this current moment, I decided to just put up video clips of his, because I could not see numbers. Wikipedia didn't have anything. Transfer Market didn't have anything. So I decided to, let's check YouTube. Let's see what is there. And I loaded a video where he scored 29 goals within 23 games. And I tried to look at the type of player that he is as well. He's quick. He takes set pieces, whether it's penalties, whether it's free kicks. It would be nice to see how he would adapt here within PSL, because I've always said that whenever a foreign player comes within the PSL, I always want to see how they do first before having to go on a tangent because of these great video clips that you see on YouTube as well. The interesting thing about this player is that not only is he held very highly in regard in his country, it's the question of Sundowns is probably going to have to play him. Now you look at the attackers from last season that had under 20 games for Mamelodi Sundowns. You sort of ask yourself, what type of future are they going to have at Masandawana? I've put it up for you guys. Last season, attackers with the least games. Promise Mkuma, I think he's rumored to be going on loan. He needs that, definitely. Saverda, he had that injury. He had that long-term injury in terms of when he was not playing. He only played 3 games. Gift Notupa, he has to make a decision on his career, because I just do not see him breaking in with all the attackers that are playing. Kapinga, who can also play within those forward roles, he got 14 games. But what's interesting about those 14 games, he only averaged 37 minutes per game. So he's not even completing those games. Kermit Erasmus, 17 games. He had an injury as well, but even within those 17 games that he played, he only averaged 38 minutes per game. So he's not finishing those games. And when a player like this who comes in with that international experience, there's going to be players who are just not going to see minutes. And I think it's Sundowns who's going to be taking those hard decisions. It'll be interesting to see who will they release. Ronan Williams, the Bafana national goalkeeper, the goalkeeper that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Those rumors have intensified that he will be going to Mamelodi Sundowns. It came up again. And if he does go to Mamelodi Sundowns, I'll be sitting there wondering, why did he do it? Why did he do it? I understand the lure to go there where potentially you can win trophies. And he also spoke about it within the media openly to say that to challenge himself to play in CAF competitions is something that he would like to do with Mamelodi Sundowns. I just question the timing for me. He's 30 years old. I just question the timing. Why now? Why now? And I spoke about this when Ricardo Goss went there. I always reference the Ricardo Goss thing because you can see where the career has gone for Ricardo Goss. And it's not to say I don't want nice things for Ronald Williams. I do want nice things for him. And I think what he has at SuperSport United is nice. He's playing a lot. He's captain in the club, and he's also captain in the national team. You go to Mamelodi Sundowns where you have potentially 4 goalkeepers that could be number ones, and you're competing with them. And I got to tell you now, Dennis Onyango won the best goalkeeper on the continent before, and he keeps on marching on. You can say he's 36 years old. You can say he's 37 years old. If Dennis Onyango wants to play till he's 40, he can. Kennedy Mwini as well. Every time he stepped in, he always put on top performances. So to go there and to think it's going to be hard to break that up. It's going to be so hard to break that up. And already Riyad Peterson is also starting to show a little bit of form. And I got to tell you, Ron Williams, the biggest danger of going to Mamelodi Sundowns is if you don't play. If you don't play, I tell you, man, Veli Mutwa will be waiting in the wings and he's going to be number one for the nation. But if he wants to go challenge himself, I understand that. And possibly this is the last big move that he has. My only question is, why now? That's my thing. But he could play till he's 40, of course. But is he going to wait another 3 years before he starts playing regularly? So we'll have to see as to what happens if he does leave SuperSport. I think he has a good thing there. But if he goes to Mamelodi Sundowns, it's just going to be hard to break that goalkeeping structure. It's that time of the week, bit of the week. Why am I singing? Because I won my bet from last week. I did on my bet. Alali pulled through. They won 2-1. I said over 2.5. And as you can see, I've made myself a decent amount. You can see it on screen. I've made myself a very decent amount to sort of just keep myself, a little bit good. And I think I'm ready to go again for this week. This time I got 2 games. One in the Egyptian Premier League and as well as a friendly. The first one being Zamalek taking on Cleopatra. I think Zamalek are in great form, unbeaten in the last 5 games, scoring goals for fun, 4 wins in the last 5 games as well. I think Zamalek will beat Cleopatra for sure. Second game, it's a women's game. Yes, international women's friendly. Switzerland taking on England. England in the last 5 games have won all of their games, scoring 26 goals in the process. I could not believe their odds were sitting at 1.5. So I've decided to add those 2 games onto my bet slip. And with that, the odds are up to 2.68. So that's almost 3 times my money back. Almost. And that's quite a lot. So I will be hoping that this bet slip lights in green in the same way last week's one lit in green. But if you are going to place your bets, don't forget to place your bets at betway.co.za. We've come to the end of this show. Wow, time goes, eh? But this was fun. I always leave you with something before I go. Kaka Sifumba of Cape Town City has signed a deal with Rock Nation Sports. You know who owns Rock Nation Sports? You guessed it, Jay-Z. Yep. They'll be trying to elevate his career. He joins the likes of Siya Kolisi and as well as Temba Bavuma and as well as Bongi Msomi as well. The captain of the netball team, the captain of the cricket team, and the captain of the rugby team. So maybe Kaka Sifumba is the future captain of the football team. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified for future episodes. See you next week.